Welcome back to Disturbed Reality. As the old saying goes, war is hell. Ever since I started uploading on this channel, and as we've gained traction in the last few months, I guess you would say that I've become known as the cartel guy in the disturbing content / true crime genre on YouTube. However, for quite some time now, I've been meaning to explore the topic of war crimes and the atrocities of war caught on camera. Despite covering Chechnya and the Dagestan massacre, arguably the most well-known war crime in the Gore community, I wanted to explore the topic further. That brings us to today's video. The case is believed to have taken place in June of 2017 in Syria. From June 2017 till 2019, 4 individual videos were released, all of which depicted the brutal bludgeoning, mutilation and killing of Mohammed Abdullah al-Ismail. Although not much is known about Mohammed, allegedly he was a Syrian army soldier who had been accused of deserting. Because of this, he was accused of being a jihadist and fighting against Syrian President Bashar al-Assad. None of this, however, has been confirmed. What has been confirmed is that Mohammed had originally fled Syria earlier in the war for Lebanon before returning in 2017, after which he was arrested and forcibly conscripted into the Syrian military. Ultimately, Mohammed's supposed links to ISIS and terror are unfounded and, from what I see, are not really based in any real facts or evidence. On the surface at least, it just appears that Mohammed was a guy who was forcibly recruited into the military and he didn't want to fight. And basically what was depicted in the videos was his punishment. Interestingly, the brutal murder wasn't directly carried out by the Syrian government or army. In fact, the brutal murder was carried out by Russian mercenaries working for a private military company by the name of the Wagner Group. The Wagner Group have been around for a few years. The group was first identified in 2014 when it was backing pro-Russian separatists in the conflict in eastern Ukraine. Since then, the group has been involved in regions such as Syria, Mozambique, Sudan, Libya, and the Central African Republic. Although the group is very secretive and not too much is known about them, it's believed that Russian oligarch and close friend of Vladimir Putin, Yevgeny Prigozhin, has close links with the organisation. The group's founder is allegedly Dmitry Valerievich Utkin, who was born in the Siberian city of Asbest. Utkin is a veteran of the First and Second Chechen War. As mentioned, the Wagner Group itself first showed up in 2014 along with Utkin in the Luhansk region of Ukraine. The company's name comes from Utkin's own call sign, Wagner, which he allegedly chose due to his admiration for the Third Reich. Interestingly, many sources cited insiders as saying that the leadership of the Wagner Group are followers of the Slavic native faith, which essentially is a form of paganism. As of right now, it's estimated that the Wagner Group have between 5,000 and 10,000 employees, usually made up of ex-military personnel. The conduct of the Wagner Group combatants has been widely condemned. They have been accused of non-judicial killings, war crimes, amongst other allegations. Interestingly, some Russian and Western observers, as well as a few people who have been personally involved with the Wagner Group, believe that the organisation does not actually exist as a private military company and is but a myth created by Russian propaganda. They believe in reality it's a disguised branch of the Russian MOD that ultimately reports to the Russian government. Although private military companies are not legally allowed in Russia, a number of them appear to have been operating in Russia, and in April 2012, Russian President Vladimir Putin, speaking in the State Duma, endorsed an idea of setting up PMCs in Russia. Several military analysts described Wagner as a pseudo-private military company that essentially offers the Russian military establishment certain advantages such as ensuring plausible deniability and public secrecy in regards to Russia's military operations abroad, as well as about the number of casualties. Therefore, the Wagner contractors have been described as ghost soldiers due to the Russian government not officially acknowledging them. Despite the group's alleged war crimes and questionable conduct, Vladimir Putin said in 2018, in regards to Wagner operating in Ukraine, Syria and elsewhere, that everyone should remain within the legal framework, and that if the Wagner Group was violating the law, the Russian Prosecutor General's office should provide a legal assessment. But according to Putin, if they did not violate Russian law, then they had the right to work and promote their business interests abroad. Putin also denied that his close friend, Yevgeny Prigozhin, had been directing Wagner's activities. So in short, at least on the surface, the group appears to be extremely questionable, to say the least. But nevertheless, what happened to Mohammed and what was depicted in the videos? As mentioned, the videos were released periodically in chronological order, the first video, in my opinion at least, being the most harrowing. It's around a minute long, and the video depicts Mohammed laying on the ground surrounded by several Wagner soldiers. It's obvious even at this point that Mohammed has sustained a terrible beating. As the video plays, you see the mercenaries beat up Mohammed further, and as it continues, one of the mercenaries then grabs a sledgehammer and hits Mohammed's foot. The screams are harrowing, and what makes it worse, you can hear the mercenaries laughing at Mohammed's expense. These guys were enjoying themselves. One of the mercenaries then steps on Mohammed's arm so he can't move it, therefore making it a stationary target for the man with the sledgehammer. He then swings the sledgehammer and hits Mohammed in the hand. Once again, he lets out a piercing scream. You can see that the bones in his hand and wrist area have been completely destroyed because he tries to move his hand and it just flops around. They then hit him in the legs a couple of times with the sledgehammer, once again joking, laughing and reveling in Mohammed's pain. In the second video, you see Mohammed's body. He's either dead at this point or unconscious. In the second video, it shows one of the mercenaries beheading Mohammed with a knife, and you can hear his colleagues actually encourage him and basically cheer him on. One of the translation reads, "Cut, come on bitch, stronger, come on, break your vertebrae, come on." And yeah, the second video is very bloody. It's hard to tell whether Mohammed is dead at this point, but he's either dead or unconscious. In the third video, it then shows the mercenaries removing Mohammed's hands, and they use what they call a sapper shovel. It's basically a military shovel, and they hack away at his hands until they are completely removed. During this segment, a mercenary remarks, "The legs must be left, we will hang them by the legs." In the fourth and final video, the decapitated body with severed arms is hung upside down, doused with gasoline, and burned. During this segment, the perpetrators allegedly joked about barbecue and fried ribs. Ultimately, the videos are extremely gruesome, graphic, and honestly just extremely sad. The first video especially being particularly hard to watch. Interestingly, Russian media have identified more than one of the perpetrators in the videos. This is said to have been done using face recognition software. One of the perpetrators was identified as Stanislav Yevgenyevich Daichko, a confirmed operative of the Wagner Group, who had previously worked for the Russian Interior Ministry. A second one was identified as a former soldier named Ruslan, currently employed as a patriotic educator in local schools. Despite the known identity of 6 of the perpetrators, none of them have been prosecuted up until this date. In March 2021, human rights lawyers from 3 non-governmental organizations representing Mohammed's brother filed a lawsuit in Moscow against 6 Wagner Group PMCs accused of the killing. No update since has been released in regards to that lawsuit. So yeah, all in all, an extremely horrible case. I have to admit, I find these war crime videos extremely unsettling. Obviously, I mainly cover cartel content, and those videos are extremely graphic, they are extremely disturbing, but when it comes to cartels, we know why they do what they do. And I'm not saying that as a justification, it's just, for me at least, it's easier to get my head around. Whereas these war crime videos are a little different. I mean, I always question the motives behind these certain wars. Obviously, usually a government will put a reason out there, that will then be spread by mainstream media, but in reality, there's usually ulterior motives for these wars, or many of these wars and many of these conflicts. For example, look at Iraq, Afghanistan, look at the Western intervention in the Arab uprising, look at Libya. For me at least, the Western intervention wasn't done for humanitarian causes, there was an ulterior motive. I don't believe the official narratives behind any of these conflicts, at least the vast majority of them, and that's why when I watch these war crime videos, and I often ask myself why, what are you fighting for? And it's just hard for me to get my head around. To me at least, these war crime videos hit you differently to most gore videos. I always go back to the Dagestan massacre, and that video has stuck with me for a long time. I'm not even sure why. There's just something about these sort of videos that stick with me. People try to glamorize and romanticize war. We see that a lot in popular culture, but obviously the reality is far different. So yeah, once again, I wouldn't recommend that you guys go searching for these videos. Luckily, they are quite hard to find. I could have gone into a bit more detail in regards to the Wagner Group. There's a lot of information out there on this group. Ultimately, it's an interesting read and an interesting rabbit hole if you want to go down it. But regardless, I hope you enjoyed this video, if you can enjoy this sort of content. If you guys have any comments that you would like me to cover, please feel free to drop them in the comments, it would be much appreciated. Alternatively, you can drop me an email. The email is on my about section on the channel, so you can also email me. And lastly, once again, thank you guys for all of the support. It's been a stressful start to the year for me, due to certain things going wrong. Nothing crazy, but, you know, things that just stress you out. And at times, I found it really hard to get the time to make videos, but your encouragement and your support always basically enables me to get it done. It will motivate me even when I don't have much time to get videos out. So thank you guys for the support. It's much appreciated. And as always, stay safe and I'll catch you on the next one.